And hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you for joining us today. Tuning in, that is a live shot of Mount Hood. That's a pretty great shot, actually, and really great weather up there right now. But something that is very specific about this is you see a lot of trees up there. Did you know that there are legal ways to cut down your own Christmas tree? That's part of what we're going to be discussing here today. Again, I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for being here with us. We are live streaming on our social media channels, our apps, and our website. And since we're doing so, you can, of course, comment along, share the show, and all of that. Appreciate you being a part of it. But to talk about this, we need to bring in an expert, and that's why we have Heather Ibsen joining us right now from Mount Hood National Forest, who's going to be helping to walk us through how this all works, how you're able to do it, what you're able to do, the do's and don'ts, all of that. Heather, thank you very much for joining us today.
Sure, absolutely.
So I think that to start off, can you talk about this program and just give everybody maybe the very basics of how this works?
Sure. Well, national forests we think of them, a lot of people think of them as just where we go for a hike or go skiing, but national forests have a lot of different uses across the board, from mushroom hunting, salal, timber, skiing, and Christmas tree cutting. And so with a $5 permit, you can go and cut a Christmas tree for your own household for this holiday season.
Which is, I guess, I don't know why I'm surprised by this. I just didn't realize that was something everybody was able to do. So how do you know where you can go exactly and what you can cut down and how all that part of it works?
Sure. Well, there are some general guidelines, and the details are both on our website. And if you go and get a Christmas tree permit at a local vendor, there's a list of them on our website, or at one of our forest offices, they'll give you maps showing where and where you can't cut. Broadly, you can cut a lot of different places except for in wilderness areas, in recreation sites, campgrounds, along highways, state and U.S. highways. So there's some basic areas to kind of stay away from, but that still leaves quite a lot of forest that is open to finding your Christmas tree for your house and family.
How many people tend to take that up and get the permit each year?
I don't have the exact numbers with me. I know in the winter of 2020, 2021, when we were all, under pandemic and looking for anything to do outside, was kind of our peak year. And that was, it was at least several thousand. But I think it's gone down a little bit from then. With our sales to, we have a couple of local vendors in our forest towns or surrounding the Mount Hood National Forest. And now they're also on recreation.gov, so you can get a $5 permit just online. It's very easy to get. And the word's gotten out over the last, 3 or 4 years. And so it has increased in popularity.
So what would you say are the biggest recommendations that you have for people who want to go out there and cut down their own tree?
Sure. Well, get your permit. It's $5. You can get it at a forest office or at recreation.gov or those local vendors. Plan ahead, bring the 10 essentials, which includes basic safety information, a map, extra clothes, water, kind of know where you're going ahead of time, and go early in the day so that way you can come off the forest before dark, because there aren't really street lamps out on national forest roads. And most all forest roads are also not plowed. So right now there's not a lot of snow up on the forest until you get quite high in elevation. But of course that could change towards the end of the week.
So definitely, pay attention to that. That's certainly something that I think everybody should if they're heading up there. Yeah, watch out for that weather change. Right now, it's, looking pretty good up there, but that, like you said, that could change quickly. So picking out a tree. What kind of trees can you cut down? What do you recommend? And how do you go about picking out a good Christmas tree?
Sure. Well, the permit allows you to get a tree up to 15 feet tall. So that's quite a bit bigger than my tree behind me. But people generally choose from a few different trees. Douglas fir is a common tree, and it grows at all sorts of elevations. Once you start going up in elevation a little bit, you get into what are called the true firs. And those are grand fir, silver fir, and noble fir. And those are all very popular. Noble and silver fir grow a little higher in elevation. So if you want that noble fir that, where the needles stand very rigid upright and it's a very rigid tree, those tend to be above about 3,200 feet in elevation. So there's a little bit, depends on what kind of tree you want as to what kind of elevation you're looking to go. But there are some, if you just Google difference between different firs or Oregon firs, that is a very basic way to start. People also sometimes choose hemlocks, but we kind of discourage it because they will lose their needles quickly compared to other trees.
I guess that's a good question. Which fir tree lasts the longest?
I think if you keep your tree well watered, from this point on, they're pretty much all going to last you through Christmas. And so the key is, and the permit comes with on the website has some basic instructions where you get your tree home, make a fresh cut, make sure you water it, check the water levels, don't put it right by a heat register, some of those basic safety and kind of tree health things that'll help prolong the life of your tree inside.
And I know there were some other recommendations too, just to make sure. You said it's 15 feet tall. That's the limit. I mean, that's a huge. I don't even know how you'd haul that one home. Good luck on that. But what are some other recommendations and guidelines or do's and don'ts when it comes to that?
For what kind of tree?
Well, for when you're out there cutting down the tree.
Cool. A lot of it is gear and being prepared. Again, tarp, bungee cords, rope. Make sure you leave with a saw and don't leave it at home. Sometimes a little lopper can help. When you get out there, make sure you're safely off the road, and you can go into the woods or you can stay along the roadways, just not those state, county, or U.S. highways. And then you'll want to find a tree that's about within 12 feet, ideally, of another tree. Because one of the advantages of the Christmas tree cutting program is it does actually contribute to forest health by cutting down some of those little trees that crowd each other out and stay skinny and kind of sparse, and it can be kind of overgrown in certain areas of the forest. And so by cutting a tree that's within about 12 feet of another tree, you're giving that other tree a little more sunlight and a little more free resources to grow, larger and healthier. And when you go to cut your tree, you'll want to cut it right near the ground. Within 6 inches of the ground. Don't leave a big tall stump for people to trip over or other things like that. And then you can get your tree, and then you can kind of make some trimmings when you get it before you put it onto either the roof of your car or in the back of the truck. In the back of a hatchback is a good option. And just make sure and secure it down. As just anecdotally, I do know somebody who a couple years ago left the forest with 2 trees in their trailer and got home with 1 tree. Ooh. So,
yeah, that is definitely an important one to secure the tree. We don't have flying Christmas trees on the highway. I think that's a really interesting point, though, just that you mentioned there, that this is actually helping out the forest by doing this.
Yeah, and especially again in those areas that otherwise might be just kind of a little overgrown, which is also a reason why cutting trees are not allowed in, campgrounds, wilderness areas, and Bull Run, watershed, all those kind of specially managed places that already have their own kind of management decisions for the health of the forest.
And again, what's the best place for people to go to get more information about it and see kind of these maps of where they can go and can't go?
There is a link right off the front of our forest website, which is fs.usda.gov/mthood. Otherwise, if you Google Mount Hood National Forest Christmas tree, it'll probably get you there within the first few results.
Nice. Well, Heather, thank you very much for joining me here today to talk about this. Anything else that you think people should know about?
Just that it's, the weather's good this week. Just watch the weather. Look at the trip check on ODOT's webcams to make sure that, you might be nice weather down at low elevations, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's great up high. So check the weather, check roads, and make sure that you come home safely after having a good time out on Mount Hood.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for joining me here on Fox 12 Now. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
All right. And for everybody watching as well, thanks for being here. I'm part of Fox 12 Now. So we've got a lot more coming up here today. So wherever you're watching, that's where I'll be. I'll be joining back right there. And in the meantime, if you want to share this segment, feel free to do so. Big thanks to Heather for for telling us how to go out and cut down your own Christmas tree. So a lot of great information there. I think that big one, though, watch out for the weather. So it's nice right now, but that could change. So you can always get an updated weather information at kptv.com as well. All right, thanks for joining us. We're going to sign off right now. We'll be back shortly. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.